Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to a quick trade period wrap video. We'll just go through everything that happened, which wasn't very much, so this shouldn't be a very long video, just to wrap up the week that was. Just a quick roundup. The current draft hand that we now hold after everything that we'll talk about is pick 7, pick 8, pick 32, pick 47. Picks can be traded still, I believe, up until November 8th, and then there's a freeze until draft night, and then you can live trade picks on draft night, which I believe we will be pretty active in, to be honest. I think there'll be a lot of options there for us to move up, move down, split picks. I think we'll be on there. In terms of what happened overall, on the 15th of October, St Kilda gave pick 27 to Brisbane. St Kilda received pick 32 and pick 45 from Brisbane. So pretty solid there, considering that, 32 pretty much became 28 anyway, I believe, with all the academies and everything that will take place. So we only really lost one spot, and we gained 45 pretty much for nothing, which on the next day we used to get Jack Macrae from the Western Bulldogs. So we got a free pick there, and we used it. We also have pick 47. That was the first that we offered to the Bulldogs for Jack Macrae, which they pretty much just flatly refused. And then we just called their bluff, waited, offered 45 pretty much at the last minute. They accepted, and Jack Macrae is a Saint. So that was all we did. That was all we did. We did throw, tried to get Brodie Kemp from Carlton. There were some other rumours that kind of were swirling. Obviously, Dan Houston went to Collingwood in the end, but we were linked to him pretty strongly at the start. That was kind of really it. There wasn't really much else to it. I think, there's a lot of talk about what we might do next year. I think we'll be much more active in free agency next year. This year, I think, was very much about draft and what picks we could get. And obviously, the most important thing was to get the right compensation from Josh Battle leaving for Hawthorn. So that was the big one. On top of that, it's now all about Tim Membrey and what we're going to do there. So we obviously delisted a bunch of players. That's not really related to this, but Tim Membrey has been the one where, was he going to go to Melbourne? Was he going to go to Essendon? Are we going to keep him? 1 year deal on the table. Is that good enough? But it looks like now pretty much a done deal that he will be off to Collingwood. So Mitch Cleary reported this late last night. He said, provided Tim Membrey gets the all clear on his medical, he will join Collingwood. The Pies have landed on him as their forward replacement. Early signs were strong for Jack Hayes, but the Pies made a late switch to Membrey. Delisted free agency opens November 1st. So I would say it's pretty much a done deal, and we're just going to have to wait a couple of weeks now for it to be formally confirmed, and obviously the clubs will announce it. But Tim Membrey looking to continue his career at the Collingwood Football Club. Obviously, he's going to get probably the 2-year deal that we didn't want to offer him. And I know some Sainers will be a bit sad to lose him. I'm definitely sad to lose Tim. But considering the way our forward line's going moving forward, I think it's probably the right call. To be honest, I think Jack Hayes probably stays now, doesn't he? Surely we can't lose Jack Hayes for nothing. If no club wants him, why wouldn't we just give him 1 year? And, he offers that ruck support if we can get 4 year into him. Put a clause in his contract that if he doesn't play more than 10 to 12 games in 2025, that he gets delisted, or, he doesn't get a new contract. So give him 1 for a trigger for 2. If he plays 15 games next season, we get him fit and we turn his injuries around, who knows what could happen. And I think it's just the fact that he can play ruck. That's the thing, If he couldn't play ruck and he was just another forward, maybe we wouldn't be as inclined. But the fact that we didn't get Soldo, that was the one I didn't talk about earlier. We looked at Soldo, we backed out of that. Now that opens the door for another potential ruckman to support Rowan Marshall, if we really want to go down that road, which Jack Hayes would allow us to if he stays on the park. But that is a big if. So I feel like that would need to be a clause if we were to keep him. I'm surprised Collingwood just don't get both of them, to be honest, if they really do think, if they were interested in both. I mean, Darcy Cameron, Jack Hayes ruck combination could have been interesting, but that's Collingwood's decision. For our side, we did what we needed to do. We got Jack Macrae. He was the priority. He nominated us. Would have been a little bit annoying if we couldn't get it done and Bulldogs were just being tight asses. But in the end, I think, the right call was made. Pick 45. We take on his big salary. I know that some people probably wanted us to do a little bit more, but to do more, we would have to give up more. And I don't think we were willing to give up any draft picks really in, the first round, 2 rounds of this draft because of how strong the draft is. And Andrew Bassett said we're going to hit the draft 4 years in a row. We've done 3. This is the 4th. We hit this year. We nail it. If we can get pick 2 from North, that'd be unbelievable. And then we guaranteed the mid that we want. And then we get the slider at 7, 27 or whatever. We get our academy boys in. We get our father's son in Elwood Pickett. I think then we're looking really strong with the already young core that we've got. And then if we can perform on field next season, the goal would then obviously be to hit free agency as hard as possible and really show, this is the war chest that everyone's been talking about. We haven't used it yet. Here's the war chest. And let's go and throw it at LDU, at Brayshaw, at all these guys, at Aaliyah, So there's options there, and I think the plan is clear, and I think we're following that plan. We haven't deviated. We didn't get seduced by trying to get a Petrarca or a Clayton Oliver, and we stuck to our guns. So I think, to my end, I think we did exactly what we needed to do, and that's probably a B+ or a B- from my end, like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think. I'm not going to say it's a 10 out of 10, but I think that, if we had have gotten a ruckman as well as Macrae, I think we would have all been very happy. But we didn't, and we didn't get a replacement for Battle. But obviously, that's all internal. I think that's what the club believes, is that Ari, Caminiti, Cordy's still there. There's opportunities for other players to fill that role and support Dukes and Wilkie. So I know Tomlinson is delisted from the Ds. I know we were linked to him. I'm not too sure if that's something we're going to look at. I really don't think so. I think we are going to look at just what we've got, and then we'll look to the draft for best available mids, 7 and 8, and then from beyond there, who knows? So that's the video, Sainers. Let me know what you think about our trade period and where you think our draft hand sits in the future, and I guess the strategy from the club. Are you happy with it? I am. So put in the comments, let me know what you think. And I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks again for supporting the channel. Follow us on Instagram at SainsTVPod. Subscribe as well. And I'll see you next week, Sainers. Take care. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.